Hi, everybody. It's Jill here, and this is our Illuminating Women Friday Lunch and Learn, where we come together to get educational pointers, uplifting, all kinds of cool things to help empower our lives. Because we know that when women get educated, it encourages them and they're more empowered, making our families and communities a much better place. Today, I get to introduce to you this lovely, lovely lady who has a powerful story to share. Especially now, a lot of us are going through difficult times. A lot of us have had some struggles and some dark days. And we sometimes have a difficulty finding the sunlight and finding the silver lining in there. And what do you do when things happen? How can you make butterflies out of something that is dark and sad and difficult? So Judy has a powerful story. She's like a lot of you women. She's a busy mom, wife, and she has parents she still cares for, and she has a little business that she's doing, and she's involved in her community. But more than importantly than that, she just knew how to go inside and go deep into her heart and figure out the dramas and the issues and the things that weren't serving her and how she could get out of that. And her own specific story, what she did is well, she's just going to share it because it's just too stinking beautiful. And I get to show you some pictures along the line. This woman I met on a hiking trail. And however you can meet people, but she was open to conversation. She was open to connect. And since then, she has spoke before to our organization, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house. Everybody was just so moved by her. And I asked, as we do some of these interview sorts of things. So this is going to be kind of an interview question. And I'm going to ask Judy to just first share a little bit about who is she and tell her your story. So Judy, welcome here. Thank you, Judy Gaffney, everybody. We love this lady. Welcome.
Thank you, Miss Jill. Well, I think that I've spoken twice at events. So the first time was about 3 years ago. So after one of my trips, and then it was 2 years ago when I had a broken ankle out at Mitzi's place. But thank you for asking me today. You know, I'm always happy to talk and share my story. But as Jill said, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have two girls, Hannah, who's 15, and Riley, who's 12, who's getting her braces on right now. So if someone calls me at the end of this session, it may be them looking for me because I went and parked in the shade as opposed to in the sunshine. So I apologize for that. But stay-at-home mom of two after a long career in IT customer services. I was 20 years in with a wireless company and then with healthcare in their IT, providing customer service to users of technology. I was married to the love of my life in 2013. Life has been an adventure. That is certainly true. Now, I'm not sure how to describe myself, if I'm an extroverted introvert or an introverted extrovert, but one of those is true. I'm just not exactly sure which one, but I'm an optimist, something of an introvert who likes people. And I just believe that we were put on this earth to help others. I believe that that's our purpose. My mom taught me that you needed to be compassionate, you needed to be empathetic, and you needed to take care of others who might just need a good word. And so I always thank God that my mom taught me how to send a good word to people who were in need. And then my dad taught me to always do the right thing. You know, was probably the most upright Christian man I ever knew. And until he was 70 years old, he hadn't stepped foot inside of a church. It doesn't mean you have to go to church to be Christ-like. And he was definitely Christ-like. But he said, always do the right thing and always keep your word. And I think that that's who those two people really made me who I am. At 16 years old, I broke my neck. And doctors told my parents they were not sure that I would ever walk again. And 4 years ago, right after I met my friend Jill, I climbed Kilimanjaro. So there was no saying that it might take a while, but there's no saying that you can't do something that other people tell you you can't do. I was married at 19 and then divorced at 30. And I was sure that no one would ever love me again. I spent some pretty dark days feeling bad about myself. But when I was 36, I married the love of my life. And we've been married now 17 and a half years. So we created a beautiful family with Hannah, who, like I said, is 15, and Riley, who is 12. And I'll tell you a little bit about what happened in between those two, if I get the permission from Jill to do so. So unless you had any other questions, Jill, before I get started.
No, I think as soon as you start sharing, I'll share the picture. So go right ahead.
Awesome. So in 2006, we were blessed to be pregnant again. We had Hannah, who was just a year old, and we were excited to have a big family. And so we got pregnant in 2006 with our baby girl, Claire. And she was born in July of 2006. She was 2 months early, and she was diagnosed after birth with a chromosomal abnormality called trisomy 18. It's also called Edwards syndrome. It impacts about 1 in every 5,000 babies. Most of those children don't make it through the 2nd or 3rd trimester, so most are not born alive. We didn't know Claire had trisomy 18 when she was born. I just knew that I had this little baby. And I think, Jill, you can show the picture of just JD and Riley, or Hannah and I, with Claire. Claire was born, I went into labor at home, and JD put me in the car and rushed me to Overlake Hospital. We arrived at 8 o'clock, and Claire was born at 8:15. She wasn't breathing, so she was immediately intubated, and then later that night was transported to Seattle Children's Hospital. She spent 4 days in the NICU at Seattle Children's. I was there along with 19 other families who were dealing with similar issues with their babies. On Sunday, July 8th, we made the decision to take Claire off the ventilator. And this picture you're seeing here is a picture that no one outside my family has seen. I asked God 2 things when we decided to take Claire off her ventilator. I wanted to be able to hold her, and I wanted to be able to hear her voice. And that the moment that you're seeing right here is the moment that I was able to hold her as they took her ventilator off, and her little hand reached up to my chin, and I heard her voice. And I felt at peace, because what had happened with Claire is that she had this chromosomal abnormality in every cell of her body, and she was not capable of maintaining life. And so we were keeping her alive and keeping her in pain for ourselves. And so biggest issue of our lives was to make that decision. Super painful, super awful, but I felt God answered my prayers in those moments when I was able to hold my daughter for the first and last time. I spent a lot of days in a lot of grief, and in mind and body numbing grief. Oh, Jill, you have to move from that picture. I just can't watch it anymore. And so I spent a lot of time thinking about myself. And then I realized, based on the teachings of my parents, that I needed to do something for others in order to get past my grief. I needed to be able to deal with my grief in a way that could be uplifting to others. So how could I do the right thing and help others and treat others like I'd want to be treated in this situation? And how could I make Claire's life matter? So in 2009, together with a friend, I started the Claire Beckett Guild for Seattle Children's Hospital. I had a child. I had another child born after the fact, Riley. She was barely 19 months old when I started the Claire Beckett Guild, but I knew I had to do something in the nooks and crannies of my life in order to give back to the hospital and also help people who were in similar situations that our family had been in. So I started the Guild with a group of about 35 of my friends who said, yeah, we would love to help support you. Today we're a 55 member Guild. We've raised over $200,000 for Seattle Children's Hospital, doing very small things like bake sales, and we sell bracelets, and we do garage sales, and we do a couple little events, a luncheon every year, which we're not going to be able to do this year because of COVID, but our luncheon is called Ladies Who Lunch. And then we have an evening event called Love and Laughter, where we bring on a comedian or a hypnotist or something to make people laugh in spite of, what life has thrown at us. But we've raised over $200,000 for Seattle Children's. We've spent thousands of hours in service at the hospital. But it gives the women, the 55 women who are in the Guild, it gives them a purpose. They know they're doing something to help others. They're putting others in front of themselves. And I think that's the number one thing that the Guild offers people is an opportunity to make a difference. And that joy that comes from that fills your heart, it's a wonderful gift to be able to give to them, to be able to serve. I think the greatest gift we can give others is to serve them. And this isn't easy. We try to make it easy for people to do that. We're able to help others who are less fortunate. The majority of our fundraising goes to uncompensated care. Children's offers millions of dollars in uncompensated care every year to people who are either unable to pay the amount or just need a little help getting through. But I think last year it was $125 million in uncompensated care was provided to patients. And about 65% of the patient families at Children's require some sort of assistance. So the need is great. So we're able to help others who are less fortunate, but we're also able to help kids. I mean, kids don't need to worry about the money, but it's lovely to be able to watch kids get better and know that you had something to do with it. So when it's so bad, when the grief gets so bad, it's hard to get out of bed, and that still happens 14 years later. And that grief happens, the reason I get out of bed and I'm able to do something about it is because I know that what I'm doing for the Guild makes a difference to so many people. And I'm teaching my daughters that it's important to give back. I'm trying to sort of, maintain that circle of life that my parents taught me, that it's important to care for others and it's important to do the right thing. And hopefully I'm sharing that with my daughters as well.
You do that beautifully, beautifully. And you're right, women leadership and our leadership in our home, representing to our children and to those we come in contact. Now, I know you love hearts, and I see you're wearing one today.
Yes, my heart.
Can you share a little bit about why hearts are so important to you?
I'm so glad you mentioned that because, and I have my, I also wear my Claire heart, right? So I have a little bit of Claire with me all the time. But for those of you who might know me on Facebook, one of the things that is really important to me is hiking. I love hiking. It's how I met Jill. It just is a great opportunity for me to be grounded and get my alone time. But while I'm out in nature, I love looking for hearts. And the reason I do that, and I have a hashtag, it's called find love. Find Love Judes. And the reason that that's important to me is that I look for hearts because they're reminders to me of Claire. And so wherever I go, whenever I hike, I'm always looking for rocks or bark or flowers or leaves that have hearts, because then I always feel that she's with me. And what I love is the community that that's created. So I have relative strangers sending me pictures of their potato chip that looks like a heart, or they cut their watermelon and there's a heart because they've seen my posts on Facebook. And I just think it brings so much joy to me, and I hope it brings joy to others when they see that. But what I've noticed is that now people are seeking those things out too. They're like, how do you find those things all over? I'm like, you got to be looking. You got to be looking. And I'm just so blessed by the people who are sharing their finding love with me as well. So thank you for asking.
Well, I think that's so powerful, because look at that energy that we can have. And you're right, because I see a heart and I immediately think of you.
Oh, that just
That's
blesses
like
me so
a
much.
blessing I can give. And I love that sort of thing. So tell us, you wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. You wanted to do that. And because you also help with your in-laws and family, and like a lot of women, we're caring for our parents, we're caring for children, and it kind of meant you needed to be more closer to home. So tell us, what did you do, and how is this helping you to be successful in this other part of your life? Because, the other segments that we all have, the professional one.
Sure. It's tough to go from being a professional, a leader in your profession, a manager of hundreds of people. It's hard to go from that to all of a sudden being responsible for one little body and one little house. And, all of a sudden it's like all of that self-worth that you had tied up in your career is gone. And, how do you deal with that? And for me, I think I was in denial for a little while, that I did have purpose in taking care of Hannah, and I threw myself into that. But, as the kids became a little bit older and they didn't necessarily need me every moment of the day. And, my husband was working a lot, but he helps around the house. There wasn't someone needing me. I wasn't needed as much as I was before. And so there was this empty hole inside of me. I needed to do something, right? And so I did. I looked for things. The Guild was one of those things that I was able to do that gave me purpose, and it gave me the ability to use my, professional skill set. But I needed something more. I wanted to help people, but I also needed to be, I'll say rewarded by just some professional fulfillment. And I was blessed to be involved with a group of women through a product that I had purchased. I'd purchased some skincare, and I didn't purchase it to sell. That wasn't my intent at all. But once I started using it, my friends asked me about it and asked, well, can I do that too? Can I use what you're using? And so I started selling it. And again, it wasn't my intention to create a business at all. But now I had a few, let's call them customers. They were just my friends, maybe my family. But the women who were on the team, the women who sold it as their living, as their job, those women sort of drew me in. They were women who were, one's an anesthesiologist, another one's an RN, a woman working in education, a real estate agent. These were women who were professionals, and they sought my advice on things, and they included me in their organization. And my bucket was so filled by working with these women, and there was just a fire lit under me that, Judy, you've got a gift to share with other people, and you need to share it. It's like, do you remember that song when we were little in church, This Little Light of Mine? You remember that song, should you hide it under a bush? Oh no. And that's what I felt like. I felt like I'd been given this gift of, not only being able to share good products and good skincare, because I loved it and I just wanted people to be happy. But I also had the opportunity to fulfill my need to be contributing, right? To be contributing to our household budget, to be helping others get something that they really wanted. And that was kind of like the crack that I needed, right? That people liked the product that I was offering, and they would say, this product's changed my life. I used your acne medicine and now my skin is clear and I'm happy and I'm confident. And that was like, that was just this marvelous thing that happened to me. I told you yesterday, Jill, that a friend of mine said, what I like about you is that it just doesn't seem to matter to you if you make any money. You just want to help people. And, you know, it's nice making money. It's nice getting that, you know, that paycheck. But she was right. I just want to make people happy. And I've been given this opportunity to help others, both with the guild and with my job, that I feel I'm in such a good place, you know?
Yeah. I love that because like you said, it's how you give back and it's how you work through your pain and that servanthood, you know, that when we are in service, we kind of empty ourselves. We're, you know, we can moves us forward and it launches us to do the other things. So go ahead and tell what company it is you're with, and because I will put your link in this video if anybody wants to come and talk more with you.
Awesome. Well, I am an independent consultant with Rodan and Fields. They're a skincare company. Doctors Rodan and Fields were the doctors who developed Proactive back in the 80s. And that's what I guess most people know them for. But, you know, they aged and they saw that the need for skincare for women as they age was, you know, more important. So they developed a line of products to help with the aging process. Now, we're all aging. We know that. We can't stop it. And really, I don't say I'm trying to turn back the clock. I just want to have good skin and be healthy and be vibrant as long as I'm alive, right? So how do we take care of ourselves? And, you know, one thing that is really important to them is sunscreen. Sunscreen is very important. So clean your face, treat your face, protect your face. And so they are a multi-level marketing company. It's not a pyramid. You know, I know I was one of those people who was really concerned about, I don't want to be in on a pyramid scheme. But, you know, the people that I've been working with are very direct about what their role is and what their job is. And I've never felt any pressure from anyone to build a huge team. And hopefully I haven't exerted any of that pressure on people. I just want people to have the best skin of their lives. I'm so blessed that I found the product. It works. It's great. I love to share things that work, whether it's, you know, the protein drink I'm drinking that my friend Jill provides to me, or if it's, you know, the dog food that I get or whatever. I like to be able to share the good things in life. And so this is one of the good things I like to share.
And just getting a little piece of the pie helps that right along the whole line.
Absolutely.
And I just know when I've been to your house for one of these, you're serving goodies, fruit, and Prosecco. So
there you go. All the good
like,
things.
Woohoo!
There's chocolate. I'm so sad that we can't have get-togethers like that these days. And so I've been sending products in the mail to people and saying, okay, now sit down, have your glass of wine, give yourself a facial.
Let's go for it.
That's right.
As we end this time, Judy, I want to just say thank you for sharing from your heart and your story. And you know, I just want us to all really know that no matter what we go through, there's light at that tunnel. And it's hard work. Sometimes we're clawing and going there. And it took other people around you. It took you, you know, and it's okay those days you can't get out of bed because you shared that. And those are difficult. But finding ways that you can give back in the way of service gets us out of our own way. And in many ways, look how Claire is honored and shared, and she's still living, right? She's still
indeed.
That is so, so beautiful. So any last parting words you would like to share about, you know, women and what you would like to hope and encourage us?
Yeah, so I grew up in not a Christian household, but my parents sent me to church. And I grew up with this saying, you know, belief that the chief end of man is to glorify God. And I believe that. I believe that the chief end of man is to glorify God. But like I said earlier, I truly believe that our purpose in life, the reason that we were put on this earth, is to help others. And in helping others, you help yourself. And it's interesting because I wanted to post a picture of that. I wanted to have a nice, and so I Googled it last night and I said, you know, my main purpose is to help others, my main purpose in life. And up comes the Dalai Lama. And I didn't realize that this is a very famous saying of the Dalai Lama, saying the prime purpose of man is to help others. And if you can't help, at least don't hurt. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know that I was a follower of the Dalai Lama, but I love that. That was where this all came. It was full circle. I don't care who you believe in or even what you believe, but we need to glorify good and we need to help others. And I think that the way to healing and the way to through passion and to do things is to have that purpose of helping others.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. So we're going to stop the recording because then we have a little time opportunity for others to ask you some questions and have a little private conversation, because this is what we do on these calls. And Judy, once again, I want to thank you. I mean, being that busy mom, your kids getting braces. I mean, this is how we women roll, right?
That's right.
And I'm so grateful for you, my friend. You add so much love in this world, and you are. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing your story, for illuminating us, and blessings to you. And thank you, everybody, and the rest of
Thank you.
Check us out at illuminatingwomen.com and come check out our YouTube channel. Bye-bye, everybody, and blessings.
Bye-bye.
Take care of each other.
Thank you.